Damn.
Speaking of sarcasm, the greatest films of Clint Eastwood.
We're good.
We're good.
All right. Hafide Guam, welcome to another episode of ReelTalk.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
And happy belated Merry Christmas. Is that what they say when it's a late Merry Christmas? Do you say belated?
A late Merry Christmas or just a late
belated
Christmas?
I don't think Christmas. Well, happy movie for sure.
Happy movie. But thank you to our sponsor, Tango Theaters, where you can catch The Mule, starring and directed by Clint Eastwood. Today. It was a great movie. I watched it over the weekend. It was amazing, but Clint Eastwood has really aged. Like, you can tell he's at that close towards the end of his life. And today we are going to dedicate this podcast to everything Clint Eastwood. So the first half we'll talk about the movies he's starred in, and the second half we'll talk about the movies that he's directed that we really like.
We have to ask though, because honestly, I don't know. Let's go take a guess. How old do you guys think Clint Eastwood is? I say 88.
Oh, that's a good guess. I want to say like.
I'll say 86.
I'll go 84.
Okay, Google. How old is Clint Eastwood?
Dude is old.
Dude is old. Jason, you totally looked that up.
No, I did. Oh, he's 88 years old.
No,
Aha!
88 years old. It's no surprise. Like, you have to see him in The Mule. He just looks frail, old, but he's still a great actor.
Wait, you watched it already?
Yeah, I watched it. It's so good. It's good. It's good, but it's not on my top 5 list of Clint Eastwood movies he starred in or that he's directed. It is good though. It's a good movie.
88 years old and still getting it done.
So let's talk about movies he's starred in. Any
okay, I mean, for me, you could make the case and say, we've talked about, who's the greatest American director before, who's the greatest American actor. Greatest American actor, you can plead a really good case for Clint Eastwood. He's been in, he did a series of Westerns. He's done a bunch of military-oriented films. I don't think he's really done comedy. That's not really his thing. But he's had all these eras. He obviously did like the cop movies, Dirty Harry really put him on the map.
Yep.
But I think you have to basically say he is definitely in the conversation for greatest living American director. He's right up there with like Spielberg and Scorsese. You can't have that conversation without mentioning Clint Eastwood.
I didn't realize how much movies he directed until you printed this out.
He's directed like literally every movie he's starred in. Almost every movie he's starred in, he directed.
He's won 4 Academy Awards. Well, with the exception of American Sniper. He was not in that, but he was. That was a film.
Yeah, that was a good film. I think the films that I like that he acted in, I like all the cowboy stuff, Fistful of Dollars, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, which is my favorite Western. Well, okay, no, that's my second favorite Western. And first favorite Western is, of course, Unforgiven, which he directed and starred in.
The Outlaw Josie Wales was really good too.
Josie Wales was good too.
Yeah.
And I also like the Dirty Harry movies. What other? Sudden Impact. Dirty Harry. What is he? There's another one, right? Magnum Force or something?
Magnum Force, yes.
Is there 3 or is there 4? I don't even know, but those were cool. Where you have the gritty cop, hardcore cop. And I always liked it.
And that kind of predated the buddy cop movie. So this is before Lethal Weapon. This is before like any of those things. I mean, and basically that was during like the late 70s era where you had Clint Eastwood and you had Charles Bronson, who just had like a cop put into this really messed up situation, and you basically go vigilante, and you just waste everybody. Remember the. Now I know what you're thinking. The Magnum 45 could blow your head clean off. Now you're asking yourself, did he fire 6 shots or just 5? So, are you feeling lucky? Well, do you, punk? That is classic. And so Clint Eastwood must have been like in his 30s when he did Dirty Harry, right?
No, man.
I don't know.
He must have been 50 something.
Yeah, in his 50s.
Yeah. Clint Eastwood is old.
He is old.
Right?
Yeah, 88,
70s,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, maybe like late 40s or something.
And his son is a good-looking young man.
Wait, which one's his son? Is he an actor?
Yeah.
Scott Eastwood. Actually, I think Scott Eastwood was in, what's the giant robot movie, Pacific Rim, Part 2? I think he's the white male lead character in Pacific Rim, Part 2. He's like an underwear model or something.
I Okay, I just Googled it and I showed Asha, and yeah.
Yeah, so Asha won't be
I mean,
speaking
like-
for the rest of the
Yeah, and she's now put like lipstick all over my phone, so thanks a lot.
Jason, there's a camera now. People want to know you're
Oh,
lying.
that's right. Hello.
What other?
That's
movies?
right. We're on YouTube now with Real Talk. So hello.
What other movies you guys like from Clint Eastwood?
Okay,
When
I
he started.
I said he really hasn't done comedy, and you said you like his cowboy movies. Space Cowboys is actually. There's not a lot of people who like that movie. I actually really enjoyed Space Cowboys because you've got Clint Eastwood, you've got Tommy Lee Jones,
James
Donald
Garner.
Sutherland, and James Garner.
That movie was trash.
You didn't like Space
I hate
Cowboys?
Space Cowboys, man. That movie was
Really?
junky, dude.
Okay, the premise was really stupid. You take 4 geriatric former astronauts and say, oh, by the way, we're going to train you for like a week, and we're going to reinsert you.
I mean, it's cute because all 4 of those actors are very charismatic, right? And they can really, like, they could carry any role, really. But that was just such a lame movie. That was a sellout movie. I did not like that movie.
I mean, the scenes that Tommy Lee Jones and Clint Eastwood had together, though, were gold. They had some really powerful scenes.
I know I watched that movie. I can't really remember it, but I know I watched it, and I did kind of like it.
Yeah, it's
Like, it was.
if it's
it
on,
was
on
just
cable, you'll watch it.
entertaining.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Okay, if you're listening to the podcast, the audio only version, Ken is quiet because he's eye rolling into the camera. So if you're on YouTube, you're probably cracking up right now.
What else? I mean,
Okay.
you guys have not watched a lot of Clint Eastwood.
No, his
I
his,
haven't.
his,
I
be-
haven't.
his best his best movie
for me.
and the
Oh,
impetus of why we're doing this podcast is I said during our last episode we started talking about $1 Million Baby, and I was like,
I really like that movie.
that
I watched
was
that one.
amazing. He starred in it. He directed it. It is based on a book, I do believe. I mean, you've got Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, once again
Hilary
being the narration, Hilary Swank, 3 Academy Award winners. And again, like as I pointed out last week, you've got relatively unknown at that point Jay Baruchel, who's a really good director. He directed Goon. Well, if you think Goon is a good movie.
Jerry Baruchel, really good director, guys. Whew. Talking about Clint Eastwood and his like 45 movies that he directed and starred in, and then this guy brings up the voice of the
Okay.
guy in How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, I'm-
38 movies that he.
Okay.
38 movies.
I'm looking at the list right now, and I'm like, he acted in a lot of movies.
All right,
but
so
How about Heartbreak Ridge?
hey, that's a great movie. That is a good
And-
movie.
and,
Thank
well,
you,
okay.
Jason. Heartbreak Ridge is actually a pretty good movie.
And that could be considered a comedy as well.
When was this?
Is it?
Wait till the Swede gets out of the brig. Sweet. Okay, how can you not have? I'm trying to blank out. What's the dude's name? The actor?
No.
Mario Van Peebles.
Mario Van Peebles. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah. Stitch Jones' name. Rock and roll's the game. I mean, so many parts of it. And again, okay, I'll give you something. There's so many parts of Heartbreak Ridge which are absolutely ridiculous. But just Clint Eastwood, just being himself, being.
He did comedy actually. Every Which Way You Can. With the orangutan, the big monkey. Remember that movie?
Every Which Way But Loose?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with
Then there was
the
a
orangutan.
sequel to that, yeah.
And yeah, remember okay, Ken and Asha are probably too young to
That's
remember
not
this.
too young.
Cool movie.
In the
Ruth Gordon
70s
wasn't there.
I'm too young for more than half of these movies, guys. I'm looking at the list right now, and there's only like 10 movies.
In the 70s,
Since I've
acting
been
with
born.
primates was a thing. Right?
Grandma and Grandpa weren't even married yet.
Remember that, Uncle Ken?
Oh.
In the 70s, if you acted with like some sort of primate,
That was funny.
a gorilla, an orangutan, a chimpanzee or something, that was like a thing. BJ and the Bear.
That was it, yeah.
If you were a trucker and you had like probably a relative at some point in genetics, that was a hit.
All right, let's include the movies that he directed then. Changeling. Who watched Changeling? You guys like Changeling?
I watched that.
With Angelina?
Actually, he wasn't in Changeling. He just directed it.
Angelina Jolie, yeah.
That was.
It's
good.
about the missing boy.
Yeah, the
right?
missing kid, and the cops try to give the
A different
Angelina
boy.
a fake
A
kid.
fake-
A
And
different
saying
kid.
like, no, this is your
son,
kid.
'cause we say
You're
so.
going
That
crazy.
was an awesome movie. Just a taut thriller throughout the entire film. That was really good. My favorite movie, my favorite directed Clint Eastwood movie is, of course, Mystic River. Sean Penn. Is that Mark Ruffalo? The friend?
I believe so.
Oh no, sorry, Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Oh, Kevin Bacon,
And
definitely.
what's that one
Kevin Bacon's so scary looking.
Timothy.
Like he plays a really scary character.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think so. He can be intimidating, right? He's got the intimidating.
Like he looks crazy.
Well, his very first film was Friday the 13th, but
Yeah, but I like Mystic River. That's one of the best movies I've ever seen. I think that's on my top 10.
Can we get your impersonation of
Champagne?
Yeah.
Well, when he finds the baby.
Yeah. The line that everybody.
What line? What are you talking about?
Is that my
No,
daughter?
Yeah, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing the Champagne
Okay.
impression today.
You can
We'll
do
save
it.
that for the Champagne. Champagne.
The Sean
episode.
Penn podcast.
But that is a great movie. If you haven't watched that, Mystic River doesn't star Clint Eastwood, but probably his best directed.
He
movie, in
also
my
directed
opinion.
Bridges of Madison County. So
I
he
never watched that.
so he took up the classics.
Yeah.
He was also
With
with
romance.
Yeah.
A little bit of a twist in there, but yeah, it was romance.
How about Gran Torino?
That was a good movie. I saw
That was a good movie.
That was a very, very good movie.
You know, see,
Is he wait? Okay, I don't know if I'm just getting my movies mixed up, but does he play like just an old man next door or
Racist old
whatever?
man.
And okay, so that's
Cranky
the
old
movie.
man.
and his neighbors are Vietnamese.
Mom, whatever those are.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't know what a mom.
They're
Like you
from,
know,
like,
we don't have a lot of moms here, so.
Chinese. And
I think, yeah, they're like
Vietnamese kind of
Mongolian,
thing.
right?
Yeah,
Like-
Mongolia.
But that was a great movie. That was a crazy, and he was
That
so
was crazy.
racist in the movie, and I think that appeals to a lot of, mainstream America. They like that old, ornery old man who's from a different time, and the Mule is a
The
lot
tank,
like
this
that.
old guy just going
I
out
wanna
there.
watch that
saying-
movie.
The Mule is a lot like that. He's not racist, but he does say racist things,
Mhm.
just because he's, I guess his upbringing.
I don't think you can ever paint Clint Eastwood into a corner and say he's typecast. But one similarity that a lot of his best characters have is they've got a chip on their shoulder about something. They're very, very gruff. Again, Heartbreak Ridge. He was this old school Marine who I'll make heartbreakers and life takers out of him. And then Million Dollar Baby. He did not want to train Hilary Swank how to box because he's like girls can't box, that whole thing, and he's like, I'll never do that, that's not my style, and but he does have heart, like he is a person of virtue at some point. You got to
Doesn't wear it
dig
on his sleeve,
several
though.
layers deep, but I mean
He doesn't wear it on his sleeve. That's the beauty about his
Yeah.
movies. Is he could do one thing that you're not expecting him to do. So yeah, it's a nice.
and he also does play most of his best characters also plays someone who has been significantly hurt
Mhm.
at some point. He's carrying around some sort of emotional burden,
I agree.
and that's not easy to do.
By the way, the
American
co-star
Sniper.
and his former wife, Sandra Locke, she passed away last week.
Oh.
Last
The
week.
Gauntlet. The Gauntlet.
Oh wow!
that
Oh
movie.
wow! Rest in peace.
Yeah.
You know what's weird? I'm looking at this list right now, and actually, the very first Clint Eastwood movie I ever saw, I was in the States. We were on a family holiday back in Connecticut, and my dad in 1982 took me to the movie theater, and we watched Firefox, which was a weird movie about the plane, the jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but I saw the box in the VHS box. Back
Yeah,
in the day.
it was this big like Blackbird, and that was a crazy movie.
Isn't it like the premise was he stole that plane to do some damage?
He was
to
like
the
he was like a
enemy or
test
something?
pilot.
Yeah, something like that.
And he wound up like actually landing it like in the
Yeah.
on the Russian ice, and it was a crazy movie.
So I mean, shoot, that's my list. American Sniper, I think, also was a really good film. Which is, I think American Sniper is really underrated in terms of war films. I thought it was pretty good. But Bradley Cooper had a lot of competition that year for Academy Awards. So
Yeah, apparently the Academy
I thought it was a good movie.
didn't disagree with you because American Sniper did win Best Picture.
yeah, well,
Yeah, and it's still underrated.
I think it's pretty
Oh,
underrated.
that
Yeah.
was
Did you
good.
watch it? Did
Yeah.
you watch American Sniper?
Yeah, I
Or
watched
did you
American
just see the review?
No, I watched American
Oh,
Sniper.
okay.
I watched American Sniper using your HBO Go account. So thank you.
Well, there you go.
If it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't have
Thanks
watched
for that.
American Sniper.
He would have read.
Okay,
it.
so here's the thing, real quick, right? Clint Eastwood has won Best Director 4 times. He has won for 2005, $1 Million Baby, 1993 for directing Unforgiven, 2007, maybe a very undervalued, picture, as you said, Letters from Iwo Jima. That was good.
Ah.
And 2004 for Mystic River. his Best Picture.
Mystic River's that old.
Yeah,
13 years old, 14 years old.
The Academy has honored Clint Eastwood with Best Picture for 2005 $1 Million Baby. There you go.
Wait, what did you just read? Best Director?
Yeah, that was Best Director.
Oh.
So Clint Eastwood has 4 Best Directors. Best Picture, he also has $1 Million Baby in 2005, American Sniper in 2015, Letters from Iwo Jima again in 2007, Mystic River again in 2004. As far as Best Actor, he has 2. Can you venture a guess at what those are?
Best
Well,
actor.
I can tell you
Best
what
actor.
it's not. It ain't Space Cowboys. That's what it is. So it's probably Unforgiven. And,
That's correct. 1993. 1 for 2.
$1 Million Baby.
Very good.
What can I say? I can't even say it. I don't even know.
You just took a shot in the dark. No, very, very good.
You know that Unforgiven is probably one of his best movies ever. Actually,
it's
it
crazy.
is the best movie ever. I mean,
Would you say that was his best Western?
Oh, it
Western,
certainly is.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
best
you know, you
Western,
had
yeah.
people in there: Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
I was
what a
saying
role.
that British guy, British Bob, whatever his name is in the movie. I mean, these guys were just like phenoms, man. They were great actors and stuff like this, and they worked together like that, and it was just fantastic. The movie was,
And
even
it's-
the premise.
Yeah, the story was just
Yeah.
so raw. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
like,
you got these
We
girls
saved this
that,
prostitute from,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, who does that kind of stuff in real life? You know, but,
and they were two like
a lot.
criminals, right?
yeah.
And then they were just trying to get back into it to make that money for the family or whatever.
Whaling money, kill kids and wives and women and children. It's just great, great movie.
Wait, is Unforgiven based on a true story?
I don't think so.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It was good. It was good. Even Gene Hackman's character was
Man, that
so
guy's so
solid. Even,
believable. He was
yeah,
such
like, he, you know,
Gene
outside
Hackman
of-
now retired. He does not do work anymore.
outside of Thanos and the dude, King, what's the guy's name in Michael B. Jordan's character in
Killmonger.
Killmonger?
Really?
Yo,
Really? You're gonna go
Gene
there?
Hackman is the best villain since then. The most likable villain.
Thanos.
The most
You compare
likable
Thanos
Oh my
and
goodness.
Killmonger.
villain. To
Nothing-
Gene
nothing wrong-
Hackman's character, like
Him,
he's
President
likable.
Batman, or Superman.
No.
Remember him and Superman and Gene Hackman? We're talking about Gene now, but yeah, he impressed me in that. Great.
That's like saying.
Actually, I guess.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like
Likable villain.
No, I
he's
don't
like a
know what you're
villain.
saying.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't watch
Likable
those. That's
villain.
right. You didn't watch Thanos or the
No, I watched.
Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah, I watched Infinity War
Oh, you did.
last week.
After he read it.
But you know how like you can kind of sympathize with like the villain's decisions and his
Yeah.
mentality.
Mhm.
Like that's the same thing with Gene Hackman in the movie. He's really stern, like altruistically to the left, right? But I mean, to a fault, right? But he still had, in general, good reasons for doing what he did.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
So he's bad, but he's not malicious. You can
No.
be a bad person and not have
He's not
malice in
bad.
your heart.
He wanted justice, but he
Yeah.
wanted it at the furthest
Okay.
extreme, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
So, which is a lot like Thanos, right? So, is it not?
I guess it's also like Goose from Top Gun too, because he just wanted his partner to succeed. But yeah, I mean that's probably no more a stretch
Goose?
than what Goose is.
What?
I don't know how it's a stretch. Like Thanos, like literally wants parity in the earth. Like half good, half bad,
Yeah,
right?
no, I see.
and this is what Gene Hackman's character wanted Unforgiven. He wanted balance, right? But this might be going over your head. We'll have another podcast with the three of us over here to talk about that. But-
Those surreal things, like he was building that house, remember, and
Yeah.
the roof was leaking, and it was just like, why did it go to there? But I guess it's showing the human side. That's not really, I don't know, bad guy after all,
Yeah. Or he's
Until the
building-
reporter
yeah,
came in and goes, "Hey, the roof is leaking. Who was the carpenter?" And they got really pissed. I was like, "Huh? What you say?"
Yeah.
part
Why,
of
why don't we
the
why
meaning?
do we compare incredible compassion in the world between Gandhi and Pikachu? I don't know.
It's going over his head.
Okay. Speaking of which, can we divert for like just a second?
No, we can't.
Asha discovered.
What
You
is it?
you made a wonderful discovery just yesterday that one of your fangirl crushes, Ryan Reynolds, has a role coming up.
The Pikachu movie, or Detective Pikachu. Yeah.
You actually really enjoyed that trailer. I was sitting right next to you when you did it, and you
Yeah,
were glued.
I grew up on Pokemon. Of course, I'm excited. I want to see it.
Can you sing
right
a
when it
song
comes
for
out.
us?
No,
Or at least the part where like names all the Pokemon.
no, I can't do that part. I was a
Pretty
fan,
crazy
but
when
I
kids
So
was-
okay, so as a true fan, and as someone who, you know, you said you grew up with this and everything, how do you feel about the fact that Pikachu has like a regular voice, and it's,
Voice?
oh, you can only hear me. Only one person can actually hear Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, right? It's like,
I felt like even in the like growing up, the Saturday cartoons that would always play on TV, like Ash always understood Pikachu. He was the only one that could understand. Right? He was the only one that could
Yeah.
understand Pikachu.
oh, okay, so to everybody else it was always Pika Pika, and that was it.
Or I don't know. I don't know if Misty and Brock could understand him sometimes.
I don't know.
Like, it seemed like they had-
Misty and Brock are the bad ones.
No, Misty and Brock are the friends of
What are the
Ash.
two bad ones?
That's Rocket Power. That's Jesse and James.
I don't even know. Jesse James, right there.
Jesse James.
It's fine.
No, but yeah.
I didn't watch Pikachu, man. Naruto. I like Naruto.
Oh. What?
Okay.
Naruto.
Anyway, we're
could-
going totally off subject.
Could Ryan Reynolds be on his way to maybe? Okay, he's probably not going to reach the epitome that Clint Eastwood had, but I mean, young actors like that. We've talked about John Krasinski. We've talked about Ryan Reynolds. We've talked about Steve Carell, people like that, playing a variety of roles. Ryan Reynolds.
Steve Carell's old.
Ryan Reynolds, if you think about it, has taken a lot of risks. I mean, he's done horror, he's done action.
He's done
He's
everything.
whatever
done
he
comedy.
likes,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is cool.
I mean, you gotta pay rent somehow, but
Well,
Clint-
he's good at everything he's done.
And then
too,
again,
like
just taking a look at these Clint Eastwood movies, as we just printed out from the Wikipedia article on him, and Clint Eastwood filmography. Again, it seems like he did the Western thing, then he did the cop thing, then he did the military thing, and now he's doing kind of like
The old man thing.
the old man thing. Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And he's been so successful at it.
Yeah.
And it's not like
He's
we need.
one of America's greatest actors for sure.
Yeah.
mhm.
And directors for sure. Like, yeah.
Where would you put him on? Like, okay, let's say greatest American actors. You have to put Spielberg. You have to put Scorsese.
Directors.
You
Yeah.
have to put
Directors.
Robert Rodriguez. Oh, Quentin Tarantino definitely.
No. I actually,
No.
I don't really. I like Quentin Tarantino movies, but I don't think they're like the best movies I've ever seen.
Okay, and then
Yeah, I don't think there's one Quentin Tarantino movie that
and
I would
you
put
like.
on
okay,
the
so
top
so
10.
at least top three: Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Clint Eastwood. How do you rank them?
Scorsese's the best director of all time. In my that's my LeBron James of directors is Martin Scorsese. So,
All right,
but I don't know. I put Clint Eastwood third.
because of course
Sure.
you do subscribe to the Leonardo DiCaprio subreddit. So
Sure, yeah. I like Leo. Leo's a good actor.
how about
does
you,
Leo
Ash?
only have one?
I don't know. This is more of
acting
your
Oscar.
guys. I don't know that much directors.
How about David Lynch? I want David Lynch.
Very, very good. I don't know if you can put him in the pantheon of like when you start talking about Clint Eastwood and Spielberg, though. That's
I don't know. I'm actually surprised that Clint Eastwood directed as many films as he did, but he certainly has good ones. That's
And
for sure.
and I've
Yeah, some of these I didn't even know he was the director of.
they said he's very hands-on. He's very aware of like all the technical elements of directing like a film. He lets his actors kind of like play their parts, but he's also very, very firm. It's not just like an actor who's doing this just to get his name on the credits because he wants his Screen Actors Guild. He wants his royalties from the union or whatever like that. He is an auteur. He has a vision of what he wants to see from a film, and like you said, Ken, he doesn't always appear in the film. He could arguably make the film better by being in it just because he's got that much star power, but he knows what he wants to see and he wants to tell a very effective story. And Uncle Ken actually shared this wonderful blog post earlier today, and he said you could actually say that everybody could learn something on great American storytelling from Clint Eastwood, maybe more than anyone.
Totally agree. Totally agree. He has a very unique style too, at least in his directing style. It's very different. So I mean, yeah, Clint Eastwood. Congratulations to your illustrious career of movie making and starring or whatever.
He's
Guys,
an
watch the Mule.
88-year-old guy playing a 90-year-old guy in that
Yeah.
movie Mule. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, final question. If you got stuck on an island, well, another island, not Guam,
Okay.
and you only had one DVD, or your Netflix account only had access to one movie, and it happened to be by Clint. You could pick anything from the Clint Eastwood catalog. What one movie would it be that you had to watch the rest of your life over and over, and that was the only movie?
How many people are on the island?
Just you.
We.
Ooh.
It's you and Clint. And Wilson, the volleyball.
Man, that's hard. Like, because all of his best movies are so morose, you know,
Yeah.
kind of depressing. I'll take Mystic River, man. Mystic River is such a crazy movie. That is such an amazing film.
It's just the opening scene, right?
It's incredible. You guys got to watch Mystic River. That's like, if you're watching at home and you haven't seen Mystic River, American Sniper, Gran Torino, or Changeling, or Unforgiven, Mystic River is the one that I picked the most. My favorite Clint Eastwood film, even though I think Unforgiven is probably his best film. Like, Mystic River is my favorite film.
That's
I
good.
enjoy watching that.
Okay, I'm gonna say Flags of Our Fathers, because you can watch that over and over and over. You always find something new. Visually, it's amazing. It's a really good story. It always makes you feel good. That's why if I'm stuck on an island, I don't want
Sure.
$1 Million Baby, because I'm just gonna be sad all the time.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. You can't be on an island watching $1 Million Baby. Like,
Yeah.
Damn, that was my choice, guys.
Oh.
I'm
Okay,
joking.
so
I'm
no,
just
so yours is $1 Million
I'm
Baby?
just joking. No, I haven't really watched that much Clint Eastwood movies. Now that I think about
Yeah, the
it.
Hillary Swank. When that movie first came in, everyone was like, everyone was googling, what does Mokushla mean?
I don't know.
It means my daughter, my blood, my heart.
I think I watched more of the movies of his after I was born, so not the movies.
Well, that does
before.
make a lot of sense.
I'm
seeing as
talking
how you-
about I haven't watched.
Oh, okay.
If you couldn't get that?
No, I was gonna say it is kind of hard, to watch movies when you're in the womb. I'm just,
I'm talking about the movies he made after I was born.
Oh,
Like I never
okay.
watched the older ones.
Ah,
well, that's cool, Ash, because Jason's never watched the newer ones since you were born either. So, on that note, guys, we want to thank you. This is the first of many episodes this year. Thank you to our sponsors, Tango Theaters, where you can watch The Mule, starring and directed by Clint Eastwood, at